Welcome back, everybody. I'm super excited to have on a special friend of ours, Daniel Dixon of Service Moxie. Now, for those that follow us, he has been on our past episode. I think it was episode 117, and he talked about how to dominate your competition using an awesome tool called SendGem. But today, we're here to talk about something a little more important than that. Well, not more important, but another big issue, I should say, and not only the landscape industry, but pretty much all industries. And that is employees and employee retention. Welcome, Daniel. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, super excited to talk about this topic. I know it's a huge issue, like I said, not just in the landscape industry, but all industries. And I know a lot of landscapers got hit pretty hard this year with the extra stimulus checks, and people just kind of want to stay home because the extra income, and just makes it a lot easier. So I think this is a pretty important topic, and you have a wealth of information on that. So
yeah,
pick your brain on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so for those that don't know, we have a couple thousand business owners using our other product, SendGem. But in that process, like in us getting to know them and talking and engaging with them, we kept hearing like the same thing come up as like, hey, like this is all great, but like my biggest issue is my employees and managing them and keeping them and recruiting them. And so we started becoming very familiar with what those issues were, and spent a lot of time brainstorming, like, how do we help with this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we spend so much time and energy, trying to find these employees. We need some kind of way to retain them. They seem to come and go a lot of times, especially in the landscape industry. And one thing I would say I'm proud of in our landscape business we're able to keep our employees for 10 plus years.
Wow.
And which is pretty awesome in the landscape industry. And I believe there's a lot of factors that go into it, but what have you found as some ways to help retain employees?
Yeah. So one of the biggest issues that we find, and I'm going to kind of give you a long-winded answer to this, if that's okay, but
sure.
One of the biggest problems that we find is employers get in like this, what we call like the death spiral. And it's this whole idea, and I'm going to kind of play out a scenario here, and your listeners can like probably say like, yep, I've experienced that before. But basically somebody quits, right? And you've got this full schedule and you need this person, and they just quit on you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to hire someone. Like that's the first thing you think of, right? And so what you do is you get a few applicants. You may only get one applicant. You hire the first person that walks through the door that has a pulse. And you're like, oh yeah, this person, like, they might not be that great, but they'll work out. Like I can show them how to do this. It's not that difficult. And you throw them out there with no training, and you are, running behind, and you're too busy to like train them properly. So like you give them the minimal amount and you put them out there. And then honestly, like they start their job and they're terrible at it, right? Because like we didn't show them how to do it, we didn't set expectations, and they don't want to be terrible at their job, but they're just like, they don't know what to do, and they don't know what you expect them to do and all that. And so then they don't do a good job. You don't think they're doing a good job, and they feel this stress that like, hey, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing a good job. And so like both of you really feel the same. And then what either happens is they quit or you fire them because of that. And guess what? Then you're right back in that same scenario where you're like, oh my gosh, I got to find someone again. And it like is this death spiral because it just keeps going down and down and down. So what we've put together is like a way to help reverse that spiral. How do you create opportunities? So how do you attract the right people, first of all? How do you align incentives so that when they win, you win? And how do you create growth opportunities for them, either within your company or for them personally, so that, they would literally do anything for you. And that's what we're all about with this, our product, but we also just teach that as well.
Well, I think what you kind of pointed to is a lot of it comes back to the owners. They need to, and I get it. Like I've been on both sides. You don't have time to train your employees, but if you don't retrain the employees, they quit or leave. And it all comes back to the owner. And, you have to kind of look at yourself and figure out ways to overcome that issue. And that's what's really going to help set you apart and retain those employees and get those new employees.
100%. So it's really interesting, right? Like we've probably all heard like, hey, my employees are the most important thing in my business, or I couldn't do it without my employees. But we have these systems for everything, right? We have a sales system. We have a system for, or a script of how we pick up the phone. We have a script for, or a system for how we complete a job and convert it to an invoice and get paid and deposit the check, right? Like we have all these systems that are so important, but we don't have one for our employees. So what are you doing as a business owner out there to make sure that we're managing and retaining and attracting the right employees? You know, I own two small businesses. For those that don't know, I own a carpet cleaning business and I own a garage floor coating business. And, you know, I struggle with this. Like I struggle with, I've got way too much on my plate. I've got too much to do. And unfortunately, one of the easiest things to push off is the employee system or managing the employee, because you feel like, hey, I pay them to be here. They'll be here tomorrow. They'll be here next week. They'll be here next month. I can do it later. When you've got these other pressing things like, oh my gosh, this client's complaining about this, or my, you know, this broke and I've got to get it fixed, or whatever the emergency of the week is, right? We deal with all that too, but it's just, when you start putting your employees first, or at least equal, or at somewhere on the priority list, and you start focusing on them, really incredible things happen. One of the things that is really challenging in the landscaping industry, as well as most, you know, what we call the blue collar space, where you've got an hourly wage worker working for like less than $20 an hour, is they can quit and then tomorrow they can go find a job that gets paid the same, right? So if they get hungover, or they wake up hungover and like they don't feel like coming to work today, it's not a big consequence for them to not show up, because guess what? You're going to fire them. That's not a big deal. I'll go get a job at the gas station making the same amount tomorrow, right? Like every place in my town has like a "we're hiring" sign because of what you said. Like COVID's made the labor market pretty small with stimulus checks and so on and so forth. So it becomes really, really difficult to retain these employees when they don't like something about your company or how you do things. They just walk out the door, and it puts you in this death spiral. So it's all about like, how do you find ways to differentiate your company from other companies that pay the same as you, right? You want them to feel like, oh my gosh, the culture here is so amazing. My employer loves me so much. I can't replace this if I were to leave, even though I could replace that hourly wage. Like I'm never going to find another place like this. And so you've got to be that employer, and you've got to find ways to do that so that people stay with you for 10 years. I mean, that's an incredible feat, Scott.
So do you find, or are you seeing like money is just as important as culture, or one's more important than the other? What are you guys seeing?
It's a great question that you asked, because there's a survey out there, and we teach this, that for the millennials at least, and a lot of us are hiring millennials, you know, we have a younger workforce, and 80% of them in a survey said that they would rather work for $40,000 a year for a job that they thought was interesting than $100,000 a year for a job that they thought was boring. Wow. I mean, that's $40,000 to $100,000. Like I almost fell out of my chair when I heard that. But you know, money is not the most important thing for these young people. It's 100% culture over money. Mm-hmm. And I've got all kinds of crazy facts that we teach about this. But yeah, money has very little to do with whether or not they stay or leave a job. So thinking like, if I could just pay them $2 more an hour, they'll stay. That's not the case. And someone else can pay them the same. Like you'll never be able to outpay everybody, right? Like there's always a job they can take for more money. And so you've got to find other ways to engage them.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I know we've had people that would leave. They would go, I can go make, you know, whatever, a few dollars more an hour at somebody else. They'll be there for a month or so, and then they come back. Hey, I'd like to come back. And I think it is because it's more the culture. They like how we treat them and what we do there and the things we do in our businesses. And I can definitely see how true that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like from a compensation perspective, we're finding that things that are meaningful to them, like experiences, are very big with the younger generation as opposed to cash. So if you put cash in their paycheck, they tend to just lump it into like, oh, I use that for my debt or my bills or to buy food or whatever. But like if you give them an experience like, hey, you get a day off or a paid day off, or you get a date night, like we'll pay for a date night, or we'll give you an Xbox or whatever it is, like things that they may not normally spend money on themselves because they just don't have it or they don't budget for it. Like maybe they don't ever go on vacation. They've never had like been able to get an Airbnb for their family for 3 nights because they don't budget for it and they don't know how to do that, or they're not good with money. But like if you give them that instead of like a monthly bonus for, for 3 months, like it makes it like this incredible experience for them. So those are really, cool ways to help kind of create a culture and a different, help you separate yourself.
Yeah. One thing I did find was when we started expressing like our vision, where we saw the company going, how we saw them, being able to move up in the ranks and, get obviously promotions along the way, but sharing that vision seemed to help a lot of employees and help get people on board and want to be there, where some places they may go, I'm just going to be a laborer or whatever it is that position
Right.
they're in, they're going to stay there. So if they can see they can move up, I think that's kind of helped our business because I started expressing that, and that's when things really started to kind of snowball in our business. So
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that you can do, like you talk about, like some people are like, oh, my business is small, it's never going to get big. Like, how am I going to promote them? Um, and maybe you can't afford to pay them more. Like things that you can do to help them personally grow. Like maybe they've always wanted to, be able to take Fridays half day so they can, be with their kids, or for some reason they'd rather work on this day than that day, or they can have some type of flexible work arrangement, or one day a week they can, or 4 hours a week they can work from home, or whatever it is in your business that you can do to make yourself different from the other person. Like those are all helpful things.
yeah, I agree. So you guys have created an amazing little product. You mind sharing a little bit about that and what it's
Yeah,
about?
yeah, of course. Automate Motivate is a product that we created to try to solve these issues. So like you said earlier, Scott, the biggest thing is that it is up to the owner of the business to create an awesome culture. And there's no product out there that you're just going to buy and your culture changes. We have a tool that for business owners that want to create an awesome culture, it makes it easier than ever. It helps automate it for just a few minutes a day. You can literally have this kind of like implement your customer or your company culture. But what it does is it helps align incentives for the owner and the employee. So if there are tasks in your business that you wish your employees would do, or that your best employees do but other employees don't, maybe it's cleaning out the work truck, maybe it's showing up on time every single day for a month, maybe it's volunteering to working Saturdays. You define what those tasks are that add value in your business, and then the employees can essentially earn points for those tasks, and they can redeem those points for rewards that are important to them. It could be lunch with the boss, or a paid day of babysitting, or whatever it is. Like the employees can define with the business owner what those things are that motivate them, and it's just a system to automate all of that, so you don't have to spend a bunch of time in Excel sheets or figuring all that out. It helps you manage your training. There can be friendly competition among employees. You can have team competitions, set up goals for your company, and it's all visible on a mobile app. And there's so many different features about it that we don't have to get into the details. But yeah, that the app is there to really help people that want to create this culture but don't know how, or feel like they don't have the time to do it. It just makes it really simple and straightforward for them to do that.
Yeah, I love this. This is an awesome little like game you can play with your team, and that's one of the things they love about it is they can, like you said, have friendly little competition. So I can get whatever a 5-star review or whatever it is, whatever you set up. I think this is an amazing little tool, and it's very simple. I was checking it out. It's an awesome tool, and it's so simple, like on your end as the owner and their end as the employee.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Like we don't need another tool. Like I said, I own 2 businesses and I run a software company that has 2 products. So I, like anybody else out there, like I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I have too many things to do. And frankly, like when this product came out, it took us a little bit of time, mostly because I just didn't prioritize implementing it in our own business. But when I did, I knew I needed to, and I believed in the product. But when I did it, I was, I'll be honest, very shocked at the results. Like we went from getting, one or two positive reviews, per month to getting two per day. It was just like I was floored at the behavior change from my employees. And yeah, the best part about it is it takes 2 minutes a day. Literally, I just go in there and see what they're claiming they're doing, and I approve it. And yeah, it's just really fun to see.
Yeah. One thing I was going to ask is how much time does it take to actually set something up for this? I mean, because I know owners are busy, and is it fairly simple to set up?
Yeah, great question. So when someone signs up, we do an onboarding call with them, and we schedule an hour. Generally, it doesn't even take that much time, but the goal of that onboarding call is for us to go one-on-one with them. We'll do a screen sharing session in Zoom where we'll be logged into their account, and we walk them handhold them through setting it up. So when they leave that call, it's either completely set up or they know they're thinking like, yeah, I just got to ask my employees what they want to earn as rewards, and then I'll just put it in here. So they know exactly what they have to do to finish. And yeah, it's basically filling out like two tables, like in Excel type of thing, and it's set up. I mean, you can get more detailed in setting up competitions and whatnot, but like you can have it be an effective tool like within 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I love about your company, Service Moxie, is how you guys help people not only in this, the automate, motivate, but like SendGym. You guys are there for, and that's the amazing part of your product. So.
Yeah, we are definitely there for our people. We're still a small business. We're passionate about other small business. It's not like we have other companies that are Fortune 500 clients that pay us $50,000 a month or anything, and that when you sign up, you're just a little company paying us a little bit amount, so we don't care about you. No, all of our clients are little companies. We care about you guys. We're a little company. And frankly, there's other products out there that do the same thing, but they're all targeted at these big businesses, and they're more sophisticated and they take longer to set up, and you don't get the support because for lack of a better term, you're just a really small fish in their pond. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to bring this technology and service to our industry that we care about. And we could develop products that we sell for a lot more money, but we're really passionate about helping the small guy because that's where we came from.
I love that. Everybody appreciates that. How hard is it to get your team on kind of board on this? You may have older people in your business that don't really know how to use a phone, or you got new people that are always on the phone.
Yeah, right. Great question. Frankly, I think this is probably the biggest challenge for a business owner is like they're bought in. Yeah, I really want to do this. I think this is awesome. I think the most work is not setting it up in our platform. Like I said, that goes pretty quick. I think the biggest thing is just a leadership challenge. Like, how do you communicate your vision, right? Like you talked about that. This isn't just, hey guys, go download this app, we're going to start using it. It's telling them, hey, I want to use this because I want to create a very cool culture in our company. I want to make this a fun place to work. I want to reward you guys for the work you're doing. I want the best people to earn these awesome, things. I want you to be motivated and have fun being here. And like a lot of guys have never done something like this before, or gals, I should say. We have a lot of women business owners as well. But it's just, we'll help coach them through to doing that. But it's just like any habit. You got to commit to it. You want to spend, it takes like, I think 21 days, it says, in a row to make a habit. So how do you constantly preach to them, hey, this is what we're using, log in, do this every day, right? And that's the biggest challenge, is just, getting people on board with using it. A lot of teams like immediately pick up on it, but some of them, they have a wide variety of staff, and like you said, it may be a little bit more challenge. But generally, once people see, hey, I can earn additional rewards for doing what I'm already doing, like they'll want to participate.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's like with anything that you add in your business, it just takes time, and you have to give, whatever it is, whether you use Automate, Motivate, or anything else, you just have to be patient and like keep talking through to get them on board. Like I know when we started implementing just having to fill out daily records just for our crew leaders, took us probably a couple months just to get them on board, just to make sure they did it. But once they got it. They don't have to tell them anymore. So no matter what it is, you have to keep on it. And it's your job as a leader.
That's exactly right. And that's why I say like a tool is not going to solve the problem. But like if you're serious about it and you want to put the energy in towards changing your culture, like this will make it way easier. Just like your products, right, Scott? Like you can sign up to the $1 Million Academy, but like you're not going to change your business unless you want to. Like you're going to put the time in, you're going to put the effort. Like you can do so much and provide all these tools, but at the end of the day, like the business owner is the number one determinant of success. It's not what products you have or what service you're in. Like it's all about the leader and their ability to get stuff done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Is there anything else that the Automate Motivate can do and you're finding is happening inside the business?
Yeah. So training is a big one. So we can take training videos. It doesn't even have to be your training videos. Like if you have, for example, like, hey, how to use the skid, right? Like you just, you can go to a YouTube and probably type that in and find a video you like, put the link right into our platform and use that as your training. So it's really nice to be able to borrow training from the internet, and you can put quizzes and test people on it. You can send messages out to groups of people like, hey, I want all my installers to get this push notification. Like, hey, make sure you're wearing your steel toe boots to work or whatnot, or be careful when you're backing up the trailer. You can send out those notifications to them, which is helpful to a lot of our businesses. And we're also really, really excited. We're working on developing a new feature where we're going to be able to measure the culture in your inside your company. And it's this innovative idea, which will basically allow you to say, hey, on an individual basis, like, hey, Scott's doing like really good and he's really enjoying his job. Or we'll be able to see like, hey, Scott's, was enjoying his job, but he's starting to trend down and maybe we need to talk with him. Like he's at risk of quitting. So we're going to be able to predict that using some really cool technology inside of our platform and be able to make the business owner aware of when an employee is on the verge or not engaged, is on the verge of quitting, so that one, you can try to save that person if you feel like they should be saved, or two, you can be out there recruiting their replacement because you're like, this is coming. And instead of it being a slap in the face, like you'll be like, yeah, I knew that was coming. So that's something we're super excited about bringing to the market. I've never seen anything out there like this. And that's coming hopefully this year as well.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. To be able to be ahead of that game. That's huge.
Yeah.
You guys also have a time clock feature too in there, right?
We do, yeah. So a lot of CRMs nowadays, keep time for people. But if you have a need for a basic time clock where they can punch in and punch out and run payroll report, we do have that feature there for you as well. With that feature, like I said, it's pretty basic now. They punch in, they punch out. You can run a report. But we are going to build out that feature where we can see like where people punched in and out on a GPS, like on a map, and things like that. So the product's only a year old. We're going to be bringing a lot of really cool features to it. Just like our Syngym product is super mature now, and it has a ton of amazing features, probably more than I even know how to use. Automate Motivate is new, and we're going to just keep bringing some awesome tools to you guys.
I think this is definitely a tool that we need to check out in our industry and start using, because building that culture is so important. Retaining those people are even more important, because like it's just like you said, that cycle happens over and over, and we see it all the time in this industry. And if you can find something simple like this that actually allows you to kind of get ahead of that game and stop that from happening, it's going to be a game changer for you.
And unfortunately, like in our industries, it's way harder to manage than any other industry because our employees are all remote, right? So it's not like you sit in an office and you can have a cool culture and like, joke around, like, you know, you might not see most of your employees like all week or, you know, for days at a time. And, you know, each crew may develop their own little culture and niche. And, you know, so it's a challenge, but we're doing everything we can to overcome those barriers for business owners.
So I kind of want to point out to everybody, we're going to be having a webinar happening on, make sure I say this right, the 23rd of March at 6 p.m. Daniel's going to be hopping on there and sharing loads of information. You mind sharing a little bit about what's going to happen in the webinar?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to teach on the webinar for about 45 minutes. I'm going to go in depth about the steps you can take to start creating a culture in your business, whether you use our platform or not. Our platform just makes it much easier to do. But if you wanted to, you know, hop on and learn about this, learn about, you know, why certain companies like Chick-fil-A have an amazing company culture, even though they're not a sexy place to work, right? Like, you might be out there thinking like, I'm a landscaper, like I'm not going to have a cool culture, like it's hard work, you know, but there's companies out there that figure out how to make their culture great despite the industry that we're in. So we'll be talking about that. And really the purpose or the goal for me in teaching on the webinar is really to just like how to attract and retain the best employees you've ever had through company culture. So we'll be talking in depth about that. And then we'll also have a free ebook written by Josh Latimer, our founder. He interviewed like, I think it was 5 or 6 really big businesses about their employees and culture. And he wrote like a 30-page ebook, and we'll be giving that away for free for those that attend. And we'll have a special offer. If you do at the end of the webinar want to check out our software, we'll have a special offer for $1 Million Landscape visitors or listeners.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's going to be an amazing webinar. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to join you on that. I'm looking forward to learn some stuff myself. So
yeah, it's something I'm super passionate about, and I'm excited to teach. And there'll also be a live Q&A. So if you have questions about it that we don't cover, just come ask your questions. We'd be happy to share.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it. All right, Daniel, have anything you want to add to it?
I think that's it. I think we're good, Scott. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I love this stuff, and I always enjoy my time chatting with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And again, that's the Automate Motivate webinar is going to be on March 23rd at 6 p.m. And I hope you guys join. We'll have the links in the show notes and comment section. So definitely check it out. Everybody needs to improve some way, somehow, with improving their culture, getting employees, retaining employees. Definitely head to this webinar. Check it out. You're going to learn so much information in there.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Daniel. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here, and we'll be having you back on sometime soon.
Thank Scott.
Thank you.